Found out my husband was in love with his friend, so I made her my best friend, and now he is no one. My 27 female husband, 30 male, of 5 years, Steve, had a female best friend long before we met. We'll call her Amy. I met Amy pretty early on in the relationship, and I thought the girl best friend thing was kind of weird, but she seemed cool. I wasn't interested in a friendship between her and I, but I figured we could be civil. Steve had other friends but more text every now and then friends. Amy was the only one he saw in person often. She even included me on activities occasionally, movie nights at her house or trips to the park, etc. I felt more secure because of how kind she was. The security washed down the drain every time it sprung up though. Steve always looked at Amy in a way he never looked at me. He seemed so genuine happy when she talked, more animated and excited, etc. He also tried to get me to cut my hair to be more like hers at one point and dye it a natural color. Amy had shoulder-length brown hair, beautiful on her but not the look for me. I had longish hair that I frequently dyed fun colors. He also would drop plans with me at the drop of the hat if the opportunity to spend time with Amy came up, not every time, but one that stands out from memory is we were about to take a trip to visit my family, a full day trip if we don't stop anywhere on the way, and before we left he texted Amy to see what she was doing that day. She said nothing and he insisted we stop by to see her before we go. Amy did not know our plans. We ended up spending the whole day there. I rescheduled my family visit. If I had been more vocal at the time maybe it would have been different, but I didn't, and still don't. Like arguing in front of people and bringing it up in front of Amy felt mortifying at the time. I chalked it up to me being too self-conscious and over-worrying. Steve wasn't outright cruel to me or anything, but the little things and comments tore me down. This went on for our whole marriage. One night Steve and I were drinking at home and watching bad Christmas movies, The Gingerbread Man and such. I got in my feelings out of nowhere, as I often do when drunk, and asked him if he ever had feelings for Amy. He admitted to it, said he tried to get her to be with him multiple times since middle school and she always rejected him. I asked if she wanted to be together if he would want to be with her instead of me. He said something along the lines of, "Stop making up hypothetical questions like that, that'll just hurt your feelings." I cried. We fought. I told him to leave. He called Amy and asked her to pick him up. When she got there I, drunk as a skunk, went outside and, in a not friendly way, accused her of ruining my marriage knowingly. There was a three-way heated argument that I'm fuzzy on details of because 1, I was drunk and 2, even sober when I'm in a heated argument I tend to erase things, and 3, this didn't exactly happen yesterday. At the end of it Amy ended up taking Steve to his mom's house. She came back to me sitting in the yard crying. This is already too long so I'll skip ahead a bit. Amy knew vaguely that Steve had feelings for her, but thought it was a weird crush that would go away. She liked me but thought I was cold so didn't try to force a friendship. She didn't know a lot of the stuff Steve had said to me as far as comparing me to her, and was pissed about it when she learned. She let him know that she wasn't and never would be interested in him romantically. He said he understood. Steve and I did a temporary separation that led to divorce. Amy and I became friends. She was and is a great friend to me, almost worth everything Steve put me through. She's the sister I never had. She is still friends with Steve, but in the text every now and then way. I'm more self-confident now. No real long-term relationships since the big D, but now I'm invited to every movie night and trivia game and camping trip with Amy so I'm not at all bothered by the lack of a romantic partner. Sorry this was so long, a little rushed at the end because I realized it was getting book length. Thanks for reading if you did. If you're married to a Steve there are better things out there for you darling. My ex divorced me and now wants to be together again after 4 years. I 46 female and my ex-husband 45 male were college sweethearts and married at 26. Right before we got married, I gave birth to a beautiful daughter who's now 21 years old. I loved both of them dearly, and we've been a happy family for about 16 years before everything went down. Our only problem was my ex's mother. She always had a strong dislike for me. She never thought I was good enough for her baby boy. We had many fights, and my ex cut contact with her after the wedding when she tried wearing white to it. We had many encounters with her years after that, sending us gifts for my daughter and purposely trying to get us to contact her again to seeing her outside our house. 4 years ago, I got home from work to see my ex and his mom together on the couch. My ex was on the verge of tears, yelling and calling me a cheater. I tried to explain I didn't, but his mother supposedly had proof, saying she saw me with another man out in a restaurant together. I'm very faithful and loyal, but he refused to hear me out. We got into a big argument before he packed up and left to stay with his mother. When my daughter got home from a friend's house, she too started to blame me when she found out from her dad. She went to live with her dad while he sent out divorce papers. It took about a year before it was finalized. He got custody of her, and I was granted visitation rights, but she never wanted to see me. It took a long time to move on. I sought therapy and fell into a huge depression. I knew my ex's mother made it up to tears us apart. I can't believe he listened to her so carelessly. I don't blame my daughter, but it still hurts. I moved out of the house to allow my ex and my daughter to live there. I ended up moving to a small apartment. It's been 4 years, and I started to finally be happy again. I made new friends. We had so much fun and I got a promotion at work. I still missed my family, my daughter, but I couldn't do anything about it. 2 days ago, my daughter called me. It's been 4 years since I've last seen or heard from her. She said that my ex's mother admitted to lying. She said that my ex got a new girlfriend and his mother was furious, claiming he shouldn't have one after all the trouble she did to get rid of me. They got into a heated fight before he kicked his mom out. I nearly wanted to cry. I thought she would never admit it. And now I'm hearing my daughter. She asked to meet up and apologized so many times. I told her we could meet tomorrow. Yesterday, I met her at a restaurant, but she brought along my ex, something she never mentioned, nor have I agreed upon. He was apologizing, saying how much he missed me and that he dumped his girlfriend. He wanted us to be together. Again, I excused myself and left them there. I got back home to lots of phone calls from my daughter and text messages from her. She wanted us to talk, and she called me an asshole for leaving. I told her I wasn't comfortable and that she needed to understand. I had to mute my phone and put it down for a bit. I haven't responded yet, and I'm not sure what to do. I love her, but I can't talk to her with him there. Not yet anyways. It feels so fast. I wanted to do it one-on-one. I'm deeply hurt and crying as I'm typing this. I don't know what to do. Update: my ex divorced me and wants to be together again after 4 years. In the last post, I mentioned in the comments about an update. 2 days ago, I texted my daughter to set some boundaries after the ambush attack at the restaurant. As we were talking, she mentioned new information about my ex and why he chose his mother's side over me. Earlier that morning, his mother confessed that she had paid an ex-friend of ours to lie directly in my ex-husband's face, claiming to be my affair partner. Mind you, I never had cheated in the first place. My ex took that as solid evidence and divorced me because of it. His mother is a master manipulator and had him around her finger throughout his childhood, so I'm not surprised why he'd take her side. He didn't know that the confession was fake until a few days ago. I wasn't even aware of the entire thing for 4 years. No one had brought it up to me. My daughter gave me the silent treatment. My ex's mother obviously wouldn't tell a thing to me, and probably told my ex-husband to keep quiet and to only focus on the divorce. I'm still really saddened, but everything makes sense. I was so mad at him for leaving me over her word, but it was much more than that. Besides that, I decided to give my daughter another chance. She will not know where I live or any personal information to indicate where I am. I'm keeping low contact on her. I don't want her spreading it to her father or other people. I'll only show up during important events, graduation, weddings, etc. I know my ex-husband will also attend. If that's the case, then so be it. I requested my daughter to put her father on the phone. He, of course, apologized so many times and hoped we could have another chance as well. He said he'd do anything to make it up and that he loves me. I said no. I explained that I was keeping him no contact and that I was heartbroken when he didn't communicate to me about the cheating allegations and only assumed that I was practically homeless for a short time and needed to see a therapist to help move on, that I wanted to be left alone and currently not interested in another relationships. Then, I gave him a new email in case of emergencies directly involving our daughter. Anything else I will discard. That was the only time I spoke to him in the past 2 days. I've been talking to my daughter, setting boundaries and whatnot. She gave small updates about what was going on with her side. They went no contact with my ex's mother, so that's good. I told her never to contact that woman again. She also apologized about her behavior at the restaurant, and that it won't happen again. I understand that emotions were running high and everyone was tensed. I forgave her. I still really love her. Mistakes can happen. Now, a lot of you said to sue my ex's mother. I spoke to my therapist about it earlier today. She said it wasn't wise to do so. It'll put more emotional distress on me and that I might have to see her again and may relapse into a depressive state. I really don't want that. I don't want anything to do with that woman again. All I want to do is focus on myself and on my daughter. I want to rebuild our relationship, and it will be ruined if I do something drastic as in suing my ex's mother. I won't be pressing charges unless something else happens to the point where police are involved. That would be different. Other than that, I'm taking a break. My daughter can text me anytime she wants, but I did say that I may not always reply since I want to remain low contact as of now. Thank you so much for the support and love. Update 2. It's been a roller coaster. My daughter had posted her side of the events, which I did not realize how crappy the post really was until you guys pointed it out. We decided to speak about that more in family therapy, and she apologized for it. She logged out of the account and isn't using it anymore. I'm paying for our family therapy and individual therapy. I said that as long as she goes to school full-time, I will be financially supporting it. I think we have grown a lot in therapy. It's only been a few months, and we're able to express our feelings without the other judging. About my ex-mother-in-law, a month prior, she got arrested for drug possession. I literally have no clue what happened on her end, but my daughter messaged me about it. From what I could gather, she got caught with drugs in her home, and she is still behind bars. No one bailed her out. I chuckled when I found out. It was a pleasant surprise. About my ex-husband, I know he has been spiraling, and I think after his mother got arrested, he snapped. He started getting drunk and verbally aggressive towards my daughter. It's been happening for roughly 2 months, so I requested that my daughter would live with me since I do not feel comfortable with his behavior. I was right since his verbal aggression turned into physical abuse. He hit my daughter. Well, he went to work. I came back to the house. It was emotional. Not many things were changed, except no family photos, and the furniture was rearranged. I helped my daughter pack all of her things, along with important documents, and we fled. I turned my office area into her bedroom and she's been staying with me for a week now. I've been driving her to school, and now this week is her last before she's out for summer break. It was awkward at first. I wanted to keep low contact with her, but I couldn't let her be abused and have the police do very little about it. We made a report, but I don't think much will be done about it. My daughter and I have been doing little things at my home, watching television together, driving her to school, and preparing meals for her. We're going slow, but we're bonding, and our relationship is growing. She's a lot quieter nowadays. She used to be so outgoing, but I know this is taking a toll on her. I'm glad she's willing to be in therapy. I suspect she has depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. Safe to say, it's a happy ending. Thank you all so much for the support. My date slapped me. Hi, last night I was kind of taken aback by my date. We met on a dating app and have been texting for a few weeks but made last-minute plans to get a drink last night, so we got a few drinks and then he asked to go to my car. I figured he wanted to kiss, so I said yes. He was such a gentleman. He opened the door for me to the bar and to my car, which I thought was so sweet. Most people don't open car doors on dates anymore, so we started making out in the car, but it was soft and gentle. Then he starts biting. After a few minutes, he asks, can we drive somewhere else? It's close to my house, so we went to a park I know close by. So we get to the park and start making out again. Then I climbed on top and sat on him while we kissed. It started getting a little rough with lip biting and light neck touching. Then he lightly taps my face on my cheek with his fingertips, and I remember thinking, that was so soft, he'd better keep it that way. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when I stop kissing him and look up at him, he does it hard. I was so shocked I didn't know what to do. Then he did it again, but even harder. I was honestly scared. He was so gentle at first and was so delicate with me, looking and kissing everywhere so passionately. Then all of a sudden, smack. I understand this is personal liking of his, and I didn't know what to say after. I've never had that happen before, and I don't think I liked it. Before he did that, he whispered, "You're safe," during the neck touching, which I do like, and maybe the soft taps were a warning that he was about to really do it to me, but I was really caught off guard. I thought maybe if someone were ever to do that to me, they would ask before or wouldn't do it so hard. I mean, that was one of the hardest I've ever had. I've only ever had it on the bum, which that's saying something because on the bum, they go pretty hard. I don't know if I should just embrace the BDSM or obviously tell him I didn't like that, but my biggest concern is that he may end up physically hurting me. I just found this very odd because we never discussed these things beforehand, and this was our first time meeting. Very bold of him, I thought.
I took a dancer to breakfast and had the best morning in years. I travel a lot for work, and that makes for some lonely nights. Last week or so I found myself at a gentleman's club in Texas trying to kill some time when I eventually ran into a young lady called Nina. We got to chatting and got some dances. While I know it is their job to get as much money from me as possible, this one just felt different for some reason. Anyways, Nina stuck around for a bit and she expressed that she wasn't having the best night and was kind of burnt out on work. It was late and I was starving, so I suggested we get some Denny's or something. She explained how she can't be seen leaving with me or she can risk getting fired, so we planned to regroup at the new location. To my surprise, she actually showed up, with a huge smile on her face. We ordered our food and just talked for hours about life, aspirations, and how we both ended up in our professions. Come to find out we had a ton in common. Everything from video games, crazy controlling parents, and just random hobbies. It was honestly just pleasant. There was no tension, intimate motives, or anything. Just two friends opening up to each other, really listening and sharing life stories. I really don't know why I am sharing this, but I will say I enjoyed her company so much because what started off as a night of debauchery ended in one of the most wholesome evenings. She was truly one of the most genuine people I have met in years. I did end up getting her real name and number, and we chat from time to time. She ended up being a breath of fresh air, and I think I really needed that. Update. Today I messed up telling my girlfriend how I met my friends. My mom and dad invited me to have dinner at their house a few nights ago. I was planning to inform them about my breakup during dinner, but I realized it was too late when I showed up at the house. My parents were already informed. The dinner invitation was a smokescreen to confront me about the details. My ex-girlfriend apparently broke the news to my mom and dad soon after our relationship came to an end. My parents knew about the SX party, the friends I made from there, and why my girlfriend no longer wanted anything to do with me. It was an ambush, or an intervention, I don't know, but it was awkward. My mom wanted me to make her believe that my ex-girlfriend lied and that I never participated in Group SX. I confirmed what my ex-girlfriend said was true. My mom looked disturbed and asked if I got tested. I assured her that I was clean and that it's almost been a year since the SX party. My dad looked equally disturbed and asked if I was really friends with people who openly shared their bodies like that. I said yes and described them as good friends. I even told my dad that one of my friends who openly shared her body also openly shared her homemade lasagna that my dad enjoyed eating when he was sick. I asked my mom if she remembered the DJ with the tattoos that stepped in at the last minute at my sister's wedding because the original DJ dropped out. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she remembered that DJ playing some of her favorite golden oldies like Flashdance, What a Feeling, and Stand By Me. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she could guess how it came to be that I knew that DJ. My mom said, "Oh." I told my parents not to worry about me and advised them to avoid communicating with my ex-girlfriend because whatever was happening between us was between us. Towards the end of the dinner, my mom and dad knew a lot more about my Group SX friends and seemed less uncomfortable. I think once the shock of me being involved in an SX party fades away, my parents might be keen to meet my friends one day. Hopefully the day never comes though, lol.
My sister's life is falling apart and I am happy. I, 40 female, have been a long-time lurker on Reddit, never shared my story. This is a typical Reddit story you will hear, but I wanted to scream it to the world. Thank God for Reddit. So, my sister, 43 female, Ursula, yes, I am using a villain's name, has always made my life a living hell. She is extremely manipulative and a narcissist. Ursula will be nice to me when she needed anything but then will ignore me. Growing up, I always thought that we were really good sisters. We did not have the typical sister fights of one being jealous of the other. Now as an adult, when I think about it, I think she has hated me. She would always give me backhanded compliments like your face looks better with your glasses, or you have a boy crush. I thought you were a lesbian. I used to be a tomboy. Growing up, I always strived to be like her. She was everyone's favorite. She was helpful and kind, or at least that's how she made us believe. She would always make me feel insecure about my looks and people I date. The first boyfriend I had when I was 17, she made me believe that he was not good for me, blah blah. I broke up with him. I know my fault. I moved out of state for college. My sister went to business school while I studied engineering. I would come home from holidays and would still have to hear all her backhanded compliments. When I was 21, I started dating my ex-husband, Jordan. My sister wasting someone else at that time, so I guess her focus didn't fall on Jordan. Also, Jordan was not her type. We dated for 3 years and tied the knot. For 4 years I have been happy with my life. During that time my sister announces she is pregnant. We all thought she got pregnant by her then boyfriend, Remy. One day, I went to visit her and bring some food for pregnancy. She gave me a key to her place and I went inside without knocking. I had permission from her. The surprising thing I saw was Jordan's shoes outside. I went inside her bedroom because I was feeling a bit suspicious, and yeah, you guessed it, they were fully exposed. Long story short, I divorced Jordan. I was still in pain and very devastated. My parents supported me, but their focus shifted way more towards my sister and Jordan. Yes, she was pregnant with his child. It was painful to see them together. I never got a sorry from either of them. They were like, it happens. I moved away from home. 8 years ago, I got a contract to work in England. I moved there. It was a fresh start of my life. I met Peter, who was a single dad. We fell in love and got married and have a son together. I don't have contact with my sister. I have very low contact with my dad, who gives me all the insight. Jordan and Ursula got married and had 2 more kids. That's all I knew about them until recently. Jordan cheated on Ursula, and they are having a nasty fight. The cherry on top is that 2 of their kids is not Jordan's, so Ursula hasn't been faithful at all. My dad told me it is a mess. Jordan and Ursula will get a divorce, but she is pressing for alimony. I hung up the phone and made myself a drink. I'm glad I am thousands of miles away from all that drama. My mom had called me too and said that she needs me. I am not sure if I will go or not. As much as I enjoy seeing Ursula's life going to hell, I am not sure if I want to engage in that drama. Edit. Since people are curious and want to know everything, I wanted to add more details. My sister was cheating on Remy. Remy was a really sweet guy. He was very devastated when she heard my sister is not pregnant with his child, rather it was Jordan's. Remy moved on and had a wonderful wife afterwards. I still follow him on Instagram. My parents were mad at Ursula, but she, the manipulative person she is, convinced everyone that Jordan coerced her and that he would divorce me if she didn't make love with him. She made it seem like she is saving my marriage by getting with my husband. Lol, classic. I got married in London. My relatives couldn't come because of the long distance, but my father did. Mom couldn't come because at that time she had a back surgery. Edit 2. Editing again because people have this misconception that my parents were bad. No, they were not bad. They were normal human. I also understand they were in a tough spot. I mean, you can't just expect a parent to choose between 2 kids. Besides, they were going to be grandparents and cannot leave my sister alone. Yes, she is an awful person, but they never let her get scot-free. My parents supported me in my divorce and paid for my post-divorce therapy. They cannot cut off Ursula entirely because she was pregnant. My dad and mom have a strained relationship with her and Jordan. They haven't disowned them because of their kids. My dad refused to walk Ursula down the aisle at her wedding, which I did not attend. I did keep them in contact after I moved to England. They were supportive of me. The reason my mom couldn't come to my wedding, as I mentioned, she had a back surgery. My mom is in her 60s, so she has a lot of health issues. My dad attended. My mom hardly could fly, but she did visit me after my honeymoon. She was devastated because she couldn't meet my son because flying was difficult, and then we had COVID. I am going to my hometown for some business. I would have gone either way regardless of the phone call. I haven't seen my mom and dad for 4 years now. I miss them. I do hate my sister, but I do not hate my parents. Update. So, I have landed on the soil of my home country with my husband and son. My mom and dad received me from the airport. I was so happy to meet them after so many years. Their faces look pale as if they haven't eaten or slept for a long time. My mom was happy to meet my husband and kid, especially my kid because she hasn't met him. I asked them not to tell my sister that I am here. I am only here for a few weeks and then I will be gone. I am currently staying with my aunt. Now onto some insights about my sister. My mom said she is living with her along with her kids. I got some details on my sister. She was having an affair with her former boss who is married, and those 2 kids are actually his. My sister got a beating from the boss's wife. From what I am hearing, the company her boss works in actually belongs to boss's father-in-law's. So yeah, her boss is going to be jobless, and my sister has switched jobs way before this happened, but the affair continued. But because of all this drama, she is literally on the edge to lose her new job too, because the company's owner is good friends with boss's wife. So you can imagine the kind of quicksand she put her foot to. Jordan has quit his job too, because he is adamant on not paying my sister alimony and not wanting to pay child support for the kids that belong to the boss. He will be suing the boss for child support as well. They constantly fight a lot. Jordan is probably going mad because of it, according to my mom, and he was also having an affair with his coworker. My mom wants to kick my sister out, but because of her kids she cannot. She hates her, but she doesn't want to punish her kids because they are innocent. Honestly, I feel bad for those kids too. They do not deserve such mess of parents. Also, just so you know, my parents aren't bad. They have supported me a lot. The only reason they still talk to my sister Ursula because of her kids. I feel bad for mom because she only has few days, and along with her illness she probably will be too sick to deal with this. I know my sister will somehow know I am here, but I am prepared for that as well. I do not want to see her because I know I will be dragged into her drama, but I will enjoy few weeks I have with my husband and kid.